or probably not. That's at least getting me in the ballpark. Now after that, yeah, also I use 50% as my measuring stick. Probably or probably not. Because if I say probably, maybe that should be in my plan then. Because I'm going to have to spend more money. That treatment's going to cost something. And that's when we're going to get into the change management bit, because now I got to change the budget. So, and our software worked really well together because, you know, we're doing cost, schedule, and risk. They're doing risk and change. Well, a lot of this stuff that we're doing causes that change. So managing the change orders then becomes incredibly important. So it's going to happen or not. Now, if it did happen, how bad would it be? You know, and you know, you could do that I'll put incredibly bad. Not that bad. I mean, I could do this with a facial expression. How bad would it be? How bad would it be? Okay, that sounds bad. That's what I'm looking at. It's as easy as that. You could look in people's face. How bad would it be? Well, if our boats are sitting in the water, yeah, that'd be terrible. Okay, well, let's not make that happen. Then their analysis bit, we're putting numbers or metrics to it. This should be fit for purpose. People go nuts and they think a statistical analysis or a Monte Carlo simulation, oh, we've done risk, we've analyzed it. Well, it's going to change and your profile's going to change. We're putting those numbers and metrics to it. And that way, when we look at it and we look at treatments, I can just do a cost-benefit analysis of, should I put money to make this not happen? Should I put money to make this happen? You know? And if I said, hey, and I know, Chris, I think you told me all that wine is, what is about $400 a bottle? So I said, yeah, okay, buy another $1,600 worth of wine. Just make it happen. It's better than a riot. So we're looking at, is that cost of doing that? And then once I do that, I say, okay, now your budget's changed. Now we have to go through a change order process because everything costs more. That's when I take that risk information and say, you know what, my treatment or my mitigation is now caused a change. So that's when we come to JANUS and say, now we got to put our change order in. Now we got to change our budget and things like that. And that's going to change my risk profile because once I've agreed on that change, my risk profile changes. So, and then the big thing for me is instead of hiding everything, create the visibility. So this bit in the middle, make everybody know about it. Because if everybody knows and nobody can hide from it, you have to address it. Because at the end of the project, if something's documented, you know, it's real hard for anyone to, if they didn't address it. I mean, that's the stuff that lawyers have a field day with, right? Because you knew about it, you document it, and people will address it. But if people address it, it's going to get fixed. And there's risks that happen. You know, if you're doing an offshore platform and you happen to drop the topsides in the ocean, you know, you probably couldn't control that. And there's insurances and all sorts of things you did for that. There's things that just happen. If there was a terrible, you know, we had tornado weather tonight, nobody would have shown up. I can't control the weather, so you just have to ride with that risk. You know, so there's certain things you can't do anything about, but at least we'd have the wine, we'd have the food, and we could do it in another point. So we'd still know that that's there. We'd somewhat mitigate it, but there's certain things, acts of God are beyond what you can do. But the stuff that you can control, to not bring it to everyone and work on a plan, to me, I mean, it's project management 101, and it's shocking that people ignore it. And you know, when you have a tool and you're putting it in Excel and nobody gets to see that data, you do it in a session once every stage gate, that stuff isn't in front of people enough, you know. Now, people are still managing their own risks, hopefully, out to the side. But a project or a program, there's a lot of stuff. If I said, hey, I got 8 people coming from Katy tonight. Chris, can you give me a shuttle bus from Katy? We don't have to worry about everybody showing up at different times or people having blowouts. They can just go, we'll pick them up from Katy, bring them right over. Now I'm managing the portfolio, and I'm de-risking my portfolio. Well, I can't do that in Excel. So, you know, I try and get people to get it in a central storage place and provide a visibility to it, whatever you do. Next one. So we did some stuff on here. This is, I think he'll email out a copy of the slide deck, but you know, you want something fit for purpose. It doesn't have to be theoretical perfection. It doesn't have to be, you don't have to make the sun revolve around the earth. Do something that's fit for purpose that gets the point across. You know, once I say, hey, this is really bad and we're going to lose a ton of money and it's going to happen, if I can make a report say that, people are going to address it. Having the greatest stats analysis in the world, at a certain point you're going to hit a point where there's diminishing returns on it. The bigger the project, normally the more you want to go into that analysis because you want to hit it as close as you can. But do something fit for purpose that accomplishes the point. Because After you do that stats analysis, probably people should be addressing things, and your profile is going to change. And, so if I spend months doing an analysis, the project's months on past that now. You've got to do something fit for purpose. I normally compare it to, if anybody ever saw the painter that used to do the happy clouds, that Sistine Chapel's probably better artwork, but I'm not going to watch this guy's TV show if he's taken, 10 years and painting a ceiling. He does some happy clouds. He does them in a few minutes. I look and I watch this half an hour TV show. The guy's stoned, and I'm like, hey, this is great. I like this. So if you can do a process where you can do it in an hour stoned, that's what I want. A good picture of reality that has an effort that you can actually accomplish and repeat. So, going through this whole thing, that's all I'm trying to do. So I want to make it as easy as possible. And it's not always easy, but at least easy enough to where you can repeat this, Identification of the risks, I think if you can get people in a collaborative tool and get people talking, everybody in the project owns risk. Get it in front of people and get people asking about it, because it just doesn't happen when it's hidden on a file server somewhere. Fancier analysis, it's not always better. People spend a lot of time making it look fancy. Most of the time when people say Monte Carlo analysis, people's thought is, well, I don't know what went into it, but the chart's pretty. I don't like the answer. Can you make it say this instead? If you've got the answer in mind, that's not the purpose of it, Get something that really makes sense so when people look at it, they believe in that answer. They believe what you're saying, and they go with it. The treatments, they should be status like a schedule. I need to know, we plan to do some stuff to make this risk go away. I need that now change ordered, the stuff that's going to cost money. I need it in my schedule. I need it in my budget. I need to status it, because if we're not doing the stuff, we had good ideas, but we never did it. What was the point of having good ideas if you're not going to follow through with them? But people don't follow up on that stuff. Once you say you're going to do a treatment, that's a change order to your scope, and that's time and cost that you're going to incur. You need to make sure that stuff's done. Monitoring, reviewing. The charts, for me, on anything you do, it's a sales tool for mitigation, a sales tool for treatment. If I said, hey, I need you to give me $100,000 for this spare pump. No, I'm not going to give you $100,000. Tell me why you need it. And if you can tell me why, and you can show a powerful reason why I need that money, well, you're going to get it. The tools in a lot of these software packages, ours or others, are going to show, hey, if you use them right, when you go into a sales presentation, show me return on investment. It's no different with a treatment strategy or mitigation. Show me why I need to spend this money. I'll do it if you show me why. Same thing, buying software, buying double pane windows for your, show me why double pane windows are going to save me money, and I'll buy them. It's the same thing. These charts show you the work that you don't want to spend extra money on. If you show people how bad it could bite you and how much sense it makes to spend that extra money, it becomes a no-brainer. But speak to people in English, not stats. Make those powerful charts. We want to go to the next slide. Did anybody have any questions or any thoughts? I feel like only 2 people have fallen asleep so far, so it's when I like to.
I'm not falling asleep. My question is, so what information, so I'm a scheduler.
Okay.
What would you pull from my schedule to show me how to mitigate risk on my project? What are the parameters?
So what do I want to pull from it?
Yeah.
So for what I look for, because it would say, what's an average size of schedule that you have? Number of activities.
Number of activities in my present schedule, I'm probably saying maybe 10,000.
Okay. So one of the things you've got. I don't know what kind of project, but I'm sure there's an engineering portion, some procurement.
Yes.
All that.
It's a complete EPC schedule.
Okay. So as we're going through it, like one of the things I would look at is, we can't go line by line through 10,000 activities.
Right.
Now, I've got some areas I know in your schedule. There's probably some activities that maybe are reporting stuff or level of effort, stuff they're not drivers. Okay, throw those away. Now, I've got different disciplines in engineering, maybe different subs. I would look at each one of those and try and find a way in there to look at those guys and say, okay, this bit of piping engineering here, we've got this many man hours. What variability could we have based on productivity factors we've seen before? If you go line by line through 10,000 items, you're never going to get there. But if you say, well, this bit of work is these guys, and historically they've done this kind of work, procurement, you've got a lot of bulk procurement and stuff that's not going to kill you, but you've got some long lead items on there that I know are drivers.
Right.
I would really analyze those in depth. You know, so if you can put, almost like, the way I always put it is like Google Maps, right? And I made a schedule of Google Maps in here just to show people. Some of my turns are 0.2 miles. If you ask me to give you a range on 0.2 miles, I don't know. It says 30 seconds, so I'm guessing 30 to 40. Whereas if I say, you know, to get from here to the freeway is about 5 minutes. Can you range that? It's about 5 to 10 minutes. And then what are the bad things that could happen? Because you mentioned uncertainty and risk events. Uncertainty is there's an inherent variability on anything you're doing. That's why when people talk about driving, it should take me 10 to 15 minutes. It's something I'm going to do. There's just variability around it. I'm going out to dinner tonight. I'm probably going to spend 20 to 30 bucks on myself. Okay, that's your variability. Then you kind of put in those things, those risk events, and you put a probability to them. Like I hope this doesn't happen, but, you know, if we get one of the parts and we have to do some repairs in the field, that's going to take time to repair that vessel. Now we've got additional work we didn't plan on. And then, you know, based on what we've been doing, there's a 30% chance that's going to happen. That's the type of thing I would look at, is breaking it into logical chunks that this is